You know, pickleball is a great game because it's so much fun, but not if you're in pain, or your hand hurts, or your wrist, or your forearm, or your elbow. I'm here to share some hints with you about how you might resolve that pain. My name is Hope Sheehan, and as a pickleball player and a certified hand therapist, I've had many members of our club approach me with complaints of pain, especially in their elbow. Together, we've worked to figure out what the true cause of that pain is and then made it disappear. Actually, I've written an entire book on this subject. It's actually a collection of stories of inspiring recovery for people who have had pain in their hand or elbow and recovered from that. Each chapter spends a certain amount of time on detecting the true cause of pain, because that makes pain much easier to fix if you know where it's coming from, which is why the book is entitled, Why Do Our Hands Hurt? Now that brings me to the point of this video, which is trying to solve your pain, particularly when you're playing pickleball. It turns out that pain can occur anywhere in the hand and arm if the pickleball paddle does not yet match what the hand needs. Now, why would I know that? As it turns out, I'm a pickleball fan like you, and I've played racket sports since I was very young. But I've also been a therapist for 40 years and a hand therapist for the last 20. And in that role, I've studied the relationship between how the hand grips things, in this case a pickleball paddle, and pain that can occur in the hand. As both an athlete and a therapist, I have to be what I see as a type of interpreter for the hand, helping my pickleball partners understand why they're in pain. In fact, it was a few of them that encouraged me to do this video, hoping that I could help you as much as I've helped them. So it's important to understand that the size and shape of the pickleball handle very much determines which muscles in the hands are doing the gripping. And even if your current grip feels really solid on that handle, hear me out, because stress can be occurring within the grip that eventually relays into pain either in the hand or somewhere else in the arm. To help you understand this more, let me review a little bit of anatomy. There are basically two types of muscles that function within the hand. We have the long, strong ones that come all the way down here from the elbow into the palm, crossing the palm and into fingertips. Those curl the fingertips. Then we have another set of muscles, much smaller, that fit right here in the palm. And those muscles are responsible for our finesse and dexterity and a little bit of gripping. These two types of muscles are designed to work together, although which ones are working hardest will vary from task to task. Now, it comes as no surprise that these long muscles are the most powerful. And therefore, when we're swinging our pickleball paddle, these are the muscles that need to dominate our grip. Now, when these fingertip muscles are pulling hard, they offer an additional benefit. They form an integrity that forges all the way through the arm, passing every joint it crosses into the palm and into the fingertips. This solid integrity prevents pain and keeps us safe. Now, you may be thinking, but I use my fingertips on the paddle. How else would you hold on to a pickleball handle? Well, you're right, of course. The fingertips are always helping, but how forcefully they can grip very much depends on the size and circumference of the paddle. There's actually an ideal sweet spot, a circumference for each of us that maximizes the power of those fingertip muscles, which is why when the game of tug-of-war is played amongst serious competitors, they insist on a thick and hefty rope, the size of which really maximizes the power of those fingertips. So the size of the pickleball handle matters too, and when it's on the narrow side, the smaller muscles have to chip in too much, asking for too much power from those small muscles, and the stress of that eventually causes pain, either in the hand or in the forearm. Now, the ideal pickleball handle is actually conical shape. And I want you to come close so I can show you something about the hand that makes this explicable. If you bring your palms up, bend your elbows a little bit, and let your fingers relax, you'll notice that in here, the fingers naturally drape into a type of spiral shape. You can see the wide circumference here. It's almost as if they're holding an ice cream cone. When a pickleball handle is also cone-shaped, it really maximizes the power of these fingertips. So to take advantage of this dynamic, our pickleball handles may need to be reshaped. Now, when you look at a standard racket, there are two places to look for problems. Up here at the top, it needs to be wide enough so that the thumb and the forefinger do not overlap. When they do, the muscles are basically circling past that sweet spot, and they're leaving fingertip power on the table, so to speak. So this particular paddle needs to be a little bit wider so that the thumb and forefinger are just touching but not overlapping. Now, if you look at the same paddle here under the little finger, you'll notice as well that it's a little pudgy here. The little finger is having a hard time diving down hard enough to close into that tight spiral. So we can fix both these problems by reshaping the paddle. We start by taking the standard paddle and stripping off the wrapping all the way down to the bottom, which gives us the paddle like this, where we have the cap is there, but the wood is now exposed. Now we take the cap off, which brings us to this paddle with no cap. You won't be able to see it here, but I have used a knife and perhaps I think even a grinder to reshape the bottom part of this paddle, trying to make it as narrow as possible to facilitate my little finger getting tightly around that paddle. Now, when you do this yourself, be careful. These are sharp tools. Once we're ready to go back again, I use some tape to soften the edges on the end of this paddle. There we go. And then I simply reapply my strapping at the bottom here, wrapping that round and around, just as it was before. Now you might need additional strapping, because when you get up here to the size up here between the thumb and the forefinger, you're going to have to put additional strapping there to get to the circumference you want. And I'd like to show you those two to see if you can see the difference there. It's slight, but it's significant. It may not look that different to you, but it feels different to the hand. Now, all this stripping of the handle and rewrapping it and reshaping may seem like a lot of bother, and you may be wondering if it's really worth it. Well, I would tell you for myself, personally, I no longer have a trigger finger. Plus, my elbow no longer hurts. I have two pickleball friends here who volunteered to come in and tell you about their own pain relief. First, we have Michael.
Hello.
And Dave.
For me, I had a constant pain in my hand until I adjusted my grip. I had to fatten it on this part and reduce this part. And in a short time, that pain went away.
Thank you, Michael. Dave?
I had tendonitis through here, and it was becoming debilitating. So Hope told me to make my grip fatter. I used an extra wrap at the top, and over time, it's gone away. I'm back to normal.
Cool. I have found that once we reshape the pickleball handle to better reflect that spiral shape in the hand, pain can vanish rather remarkably. Thanks, guys.
You're welcome.
You can read more about these dynamics in my book. It reads a little bit like a detective novel. There are portions in each chapter that go over the actual cause of pain. There are chapters on carpal tunnel, trigger finger, tendonitis, thumb pain, even tennis elbow. The name of the book is called Why Do Our Hands Hurt? I'm told it's a pretty good read. You might want to check it out. So there you have it. To sum up, if you're having pain when you're playing pickleball in your fingers, your palm, your wrist, or your elbow, all you may need to do is reshape your paddle. And that way it'll emulate that more natural spiral form of the hand. And when you use your pickleball shots, you'll be using your strongest muscles. Again, my name is Hope Sheehan. My website is hopeforhands.com. And my fondest desire is that we get you back to playing pickleball pain-free. Thanks so much for listening. And remember, if you like this video, push the like button.
Hey, Hope, let's play.
Oh, gotta go.